Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Stefan Pryor. I serve as Governor McKee's Commerce Secretary. Very proud to be with you today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we announce that we have a plan to breathe new life into the Superman building. Precisely 9 years ago, on April 12th, 2013, at 2 p.m., Bank of America completed its last workday in the Superman building. Exactly 9 years ago. It's been dormant since, despite some good efforts. We're very pleased that this extraordinary coalition, led by the governor and mayor, has come together with the development team, thank you, Mr. Sweetser, to reach this day. Now, there are many days ahead of us. All what we're going to describe today needs to be executed and enacted through government panels and through developer actions, but we are very encouraged that we've reached this point. This is a $220 million project. It will involve the residential conversion of this iconic tower, and it will include 285 new residential units. Truly an extraordinary coalition, and we're so grateful to our elected leaders, plural. We're going to introduce all of them. It is a significant program today, but there's a lot to say and a lot of recognition to be offered, and it certainly starts with our governor, who in this very room months ago, meeting with Mr. Sweetser and our teams, declared that we had some tough negotiations ahead, but that if we took them seriously and we each bargained hard and we worked on behalf of Rhode Islanders, we could get there with a deal that protects the taxpayers and does breathe new life into this building. So it is my true honor to introduce Governor Dan McKee.
You did good. Stefan, thank you. And, good shout out to your entire team, Stefan, for your persistence and the stick-to-itiveness that needs to happen when you when you get involved with a project that, had, times when it didn't look like it was going to happen over those years. But today, we're here to declare that Rhode Island has momentum. It has economic momentum. And with the partnerships in Providence, with the mayor, this is just another example of that. With our developers, those who are willing to put their dollars invested into the state of Rhode Island at the pace that we are currently investing in the state of Rhode Island with private funding and private investment. It is an extraordinary time for the state, and it doesn't happen without great partnerships. Certainly, with our leadership, with the Speaker and the President. Thank you so much for your involvement and your encouragement during this process, along with the Providence contingent, with the Mayor and our Council President that's here today, along with Mike Sabatoni, we're all about jobs and good paying jobs. And this is going to provide jobs and good paying jobs. And at the end of the day, it's going to light up a building that has not been lit in almost a decade. And that's one of our goals. One of our goals was to continue to check off the boxes and make sure that we take advantage of every opportunity that we have in front of us. So David, from from High Rock Development, thank you so much for your persistence. And I just witnessed a signature of an MOU document in my office with Neil and our Lieutenant Governor as well there, and representation from your company. So thank you for that. Have Neil Steinberg here as well, continue to talk about the Rhode Island Foundation. And we say often, at this podium, the foundation was a great partner in helping getting this done. And we want to recognize everybody that has been involved in this effort. Over the last several months, you've probably heard me say Rhode Island has this momentum. And thanks in large part to having the highest vaccination rates in the nation, we're leading the Northeast in our economic recovery. Today, we're just adding to that. There's no reason that the state of Rhode Island needs to be first in and last out of these economic downturns. There's no reason that that needs to continue. And with the investments that we're talking about today, it just continues the certainly the optimism that the people in the state of Rhode Island share with you and your investment, David. We're here to announce again that the Providence Industrial Trust Building, as we all know it as the Superman Building, Neil reminded me of that. I did watch that show on TV. But now, thanks to a strategic collaboration between the state and the city, the Rhode Island Foundation development team, led by the building's owner's principal, again, David Schweitzer, we finalized a plan, a $220 million project to convert this long-vacant yet iconic tower into 235 residential housing units, 20% of which will be deeded as affordable housing. What is that going to mean to downtown Providence? It's going to breathe life into that. Then we take care of the bus transportation, Mayor, right? And then we are moving ahead in a good direction, right? And that's the next on the list to check off. So this is a really big deal for everyone that's in the state of Rhode Island. Housing, again, I'll repeat, how can we expect our sons and daughters to stay in the state of Rhode Island with us unless they have housing they can afford to live in, an economy that can support their families, the jobs that will make that available, and an education that will actually make all that happen. Because of everyone here today stepping up and working together, we've made it happen. And I emphasize we. The rehabilitation conversion will result in over 1,500 direct construction jobs throughout the project. We like that, Mike? The project will also have a labor agreement that will guarantee a prevailing wage for the construction workers. And the developer has committed to recruiting local, minority-owned businesses and women-owned construction firms and pushing them to do at least 20% of the work. Tomas, I think we like that, right? And Tomas, thank you for your efforts in all these proceedings as well, and making sure that we have, a map of Rhode Island that builds out Rhode Island. That's the plan, right? Our state is rebounding, and the news like this makes me more confident than ever that we will emerge from this pandemic stronger than we went in. And as I've said, Dr. Jarre said it best when I was at a child's behavioral health, mental health conference, and he was asked the question. And by the way, I'm very proud that Dr. Jarre was part of our transition team and helping us with the vaccination. But he said, when are we moving back to 2019? And he thought a moment, and he says, we're not going back to 2019. When you have a worldwide event, like a pandemic, or a world war, or a depression, you never go back to where you were. But you can go to a better spot. And today, we're moving ahead to that better spot, thanks to everybody that's here today to put this project together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor. So you've heard it. Hundreds of new residents brought to our downtown, hundreds of construction jobs, and restoring our skyline, lighting up that iconic building. And it means so much to our state, right? It's also a signal that we're back. We are in the process of emerging from the pandemic, and we are rebounding. And this is yet another sign. So thank you, Governor. I want to describe the project in a bit more detail and let the fantastic assortment of colleagues here do even better. 285 new units, 20% affordability. We thank David Schweitzer and Zach Darrow for a vigorous negotiation and enabling us to double the number of units originally proposed, up from 10% affordable to 20%, and deepened affordability in the additional units. We're pleased that, rightly, this is how a negotiation works. The developer proposed a subsidy at around $48 million of state investment. We were able to reduce that amount together, working together in partnership, reduce that amount by 45%. The state's contribution will now be $26 million. That's only 12% of project costs. Enormous credit to the developer, to David and to Zach, for making that possible. The project will be LEED certified, meaning that it will meet certain environmental standards thanks to the determination of the developer and work with his architectural team. There will be a commitment, best efforts commitment to MWBE contracting on the job. You heard from the governor that would be, the goal would be 20%. There is an anticipation of the construction activity occurring under a project labor agreement. Under a PLA, we will ensure that there are well-paid construction jobs, 1,500 plus, in this project. We are also pleased that if the project performs at a high level, there's the possibility that the state will receive some repayment based upon its amount of investment. It's a terrific project. All these new residential units right in our downtown, lighting up this building, an affordable component, environmentally sound. And I want to salute David Sweetser and his counsel, Zach Darrow, for stepping up in one additional way, which is an important early gesture, which is that, Karen Santilli, there'll be a contribution of $500,000 over the initial decade after the building is up and running, about 3 years, about $500,000 to Crossroads to support our community of individuals who are homeless. Ladies and gentlemen, this $220 million project will help our city, our capital city, and our state in so many ways. We have a program of many participants because the fact is that it couldn't be possible without a General Assembly that has given us the tools to get this job done using existing tools, without a partnership with the city, and a very unusual partnership with the Rhode Island Foundation. Not unusual that we would have such partnership, but for a project of this type, and with the building trades. So my next introduction is to Speaker Joe Shekarchi. Speaker, from very early conversations, you said, get this done right for the taxpayers of our state, use our existing resources, and based upon your charge, we've helped to get the job done. Speaker Shekarchi.
Congratulations. Thank you, Stefan, Secretary Pryor. It's always said that nothing good is easy, and this deal was anything but easy. So I really want to congratulate the governor, Secretary Pryor, his team, for staying on top of this. There's many people we can thank, and I will acknowledge them in a minute, but I really want to say the important thing that made this deal very palatable, very supportive from my standpoint, from the House standpoint. There is no new allocation of state funds. That they were able to craft a deal. Mr. Schweitzer, your able counsel, Zach Darrow, your lobbying team, the whole Darrow Everett posse, as I called them, which somehow always followed me around. But nevertheless, they got the job done. There's no new allocation of state funding. There may be some enabling legislation authorized the City of Providence regarding a tax treaty. But beyond that, they were able to work within the existing structure. I'm extremely excited looking at our new soon-to-be housing secretary, who's the housing czar, Josh Stoll here, that there's an affordable housing component. Critical. I think this is going to be a model of how we do these big projects. There will be affordable housing components. We're talking about, there's my good friend Joe Paolino, who also is a big supporter of this deal, talked about the relocation of the train station. with an affordable housing component. So I look forward to working with everybody as we move forward. I'm excited about this. It's a good day for Rhode Island. I want to thank so many people involved. Mr. Schweitzer, obviously you for standing up and making this commitment to Rhode Island. We look forward to working with you for a long time to come. Neil Steinberg, the Rhode Island Foundation. Nothing in the General Assembly happens without my good friend, the Senate President, my partner in the General Assembly. We work together on so many important issues, and we're proud today to stand here and support this great deal. I'll let him speak for himself in the Senate. Of course, Mayor Igliozi, as you conclude your tenure as mayor, you're going out with a bang, and those are very good things. Council President Igliozi, another constant voice of always supporting Providence. He's the fair and balanced and logical one in the city that I talk to regularly, and he gets things done. So thank you very much, John, for all you do. And of course, Mike Sabatoni, thank you for stepping up. Thank you for a project labor agreement, because that's so critical that we work, and that's just what it is, a project labor agreement where parties agree. That's the way we get things done, by collaboration and working as we look forward to this. It's an exciting day for Rhode Island. I want to thank everybody who's been involved. There's a lot of work to be done, but we have a roadmap and a general agreement and a signed memorandum of understanding. I look forward to working with you all as we move this from the drawing board into reality. Thank you and congratulations. A good day for Rhode Island.
Thank you so much, Speaker. There's been reference to the Commerce team. I want to name some of them who've done an absolutely over-the-top, incredible job. Hannah Moore, Assistant Secretary Extraordinaire. Jeff Miller, Head of Investments. Chris Fragameni, our outside counsel. I don't know how you all are getting any other aspects of your jobs done, but you're doing an incredible job. Bonnie Nickerson and Keith Stokes of the city. I know Mayor Igliozi joins in me in thanking them, and many colleagues at the city who've gotten the job done. You've heard the reference to housing. Carol Ventura, as Executive Director of Rhode Island Housing, has been a partner from the start of the framing of this set of terms. Josh Stahl, thank you for joining that team and leading. Cliff Wood of the Providence Foundation, Lori White of the Greater Providence Chamber, Kristen Adamo of the Providence War Convention and Visitors Bureau. Goodness gracious, have you led with advocacy, strenuous at times, enthusiastic all through, to make sure that we bring this building back to life. And the Senate President has, in his own right, at every turn, pointed out, insisted that it can get done. And you've been supported from top to bottom. Senate President Dominic Ruggiero.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. This is an absolutely great day, not only for the city of Providence, but also for the state of Rhode Island. It's been a long time coming, obviously. I remember meeting Mr. Schweitzer about 10 years ago. He was gracious enough to take us to a tour through the building, and we realized at that time that this was a building with tremendous potential. However, it needed a lot of work. During that time, it's gone through a number of different iterations, but obviously we're winding up in a place where we want to be. I want to thank everyone involved, and I'm certainly not going to mention all the names that the Secretary mentioned, but I want to commend the Governor and his staff. Obviously, this is the third administration that's dealt with this particular issue, and they're the ones that got it done. And I want to thank you, Governor. I want to thank your administration. I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor. I want to mention my colleague, Josh Miller, Senator Miller, who is the chair of our H&HS committee. He has been, he's been on this issue, and I don't think there was a week that's ever gone by that he hasn't talked to me about what's happening with Superman. This is a great day for the state of Rhode Island, as I said. It's a great day for the city. It's going to provide jobs. It's going to provide affordable housing. And I want to commend the mayor and his administration for getting to the finish line on this. So I want to thank all the advocates. I know Joe Paolino was a tremendous advocate of this particular process. And obviously, they use the money through the programs that we have established. to make this venture happen. So I want to thank everyone for their involvement here. I want to thank, as I said, the administration, and I certainly want to thank Stefan Pryor, the Secretary, for the great job that he's done, and certainly everyone involved. So thank you all for being here, and look forward to having the ribbon cutting at the appropriate time and making that building the iconic structure that it always has been. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Senate President. Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos has prioritized housing from the first day she took office as Lieutenant Governor, and obviously has been an incredible advocate for Providence and bringing our downtown back. Lieutenant Governor, it's often an honor to be your co-host in so many forums, and it's a true honor to introduce you now. Sabina Matos.
Thank you so much. I really want to thank Governor McKee and Secretary Pryor, and also I want to thank Mayor Elorza for coming together and making this happen. I want to thank the leadership of the Senate and the Speaker of the House also for making it happen. And I have to put a plug for my former colleagues of the Providence City Council. We had several meetings in this, around this issue. You're going to be hearing from the President, Igliozi, soon. But I have other colleagues, former colleagues here in the room that I want to acknowledge, Ryan Goncalves and in La Fortune, who I can see right now. And it took a long time for us to get to this point. We saw several proposals coming in front of us that we were trying to make it happen. And it took a lot of hours of hard work to get to where we are right now. But I want to thank the leadership of the governor and the leadership of the Commerce Secretary for making it happen in combination with Mayor Elorza. I have to say that seeing the housing component being a big part of this proposal makes me so happy because it's so needed here in the state of Rhode Island. We keep talking about housing because we are in the middle of a crisis right now. And we are in a good moment in which the leadership of the state recognizes the crisis that we have, and everyone is moving in the same direction to make sure that we add more housing to our stock here at the state of Rhode Island. I also want to take a moment and acknowledge and thank the downtown community that has been patient, waiting until this project, finally we have a deal coming together. I have to acknowledge Mayor Paulino, who is here, and also Bob Chase, who I saw here also in the room. Some of the individuals that have been participating of every debate that we have had in regards to the future of the Superman building and the future of downtown. It is great to see more people moving to downtown and creating the neighborhood that we have right now and the fabric of the community that we have in downtown. So thank you to all of you that have made this possible, and I cannot thank enough the leadership of Governor McKee, Secretary Pryor, and Mayor Elorza for making it happen. Thank you.
And this has been a true state and city alliance, and Mayor Elorza has been right with us at every turn. We've had numerous meetings and incredible dialogue around this to make sure that we can get it done, and your determination, Mayor, has been exemplary. I want to also recognize Nicole Pollack, who was and is part of the team in making this happen. Mayor Elorza, thank you so much for being an amazing partner, and welcome to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to add my voice to the chorus and recognize the governor. Governor has been supportive of this from the very beginning. Congratulations, and really job well done. You know, there are so many players and so many stakeholders that played a role in making this happen. You know, all of them have been named, and everybody has played a crucial role. Some have played roles as counselors, you might say as coaches, as general managers. But as Bill Belichick always says, all the credit goes to the players on the field. And there is a point guard, there is a quarterback that has steered this process and got it over the finish line, or over the end zone, we might say. If it wasn't for the dogged determination of Stefan Pryor and his team at Commerce to corral all of the parties, keep everyone aligned and engaged, this would not happen. So I'm going to ask everyone to please once again join me in giving a big applause for Stefan. Truly masterful work. I think that all of us have had this experience where we're driving south into Providence, and let's say we've been away from home for a while, as we're on 195 South, and you look out over the horizon and you see the Superman building, you know, you feel that sense that, all right, I'm home, I'm getting there. And so the Superman building is a building that we all have a connection to, we all feel attached to it. In no small way, it's a symbol of our entire state. And while it has laid empty for 9 years, we've all felt concerned, and it's tough to feel upbeat, in spite of a lot of reasons for feeling upbeat, when that building is empty. Well, that's why today is such a big day. We know we're going to breathe new life in that building, and this project scratches so many important itches. Many of the folks have mentioned that housing is going to go into this space. We know that we are living through a housing crisis, and we need new units at every scale, at the high end, at the low end, and everywhere in between. And that's exactly what this is going to provide. I think it's fairly unprecedented for 20% of the units to be set aside for affordable housing. That's a concession that the team made throughout the process, and something that my team was insistent on in advocating throughout. I want to recognize Bonnie and Keith Stokes, Bonnie Nickerson and Keith Stokes, who have been the lead point people on my team, along with Nicole in this process. So thank you for getting us here. Along with affordable housing, you've also heard that this is going to create good-paying jobs across the board, and also for the WMBE community. The commitments that the developer has made to do everything possible to get WMBE projects into this larger project is really commendable, and we're excited about that. Now, we also know that the Superman building doesn't stand on its own. It's also part of its own community. And there's been talk for at least a decade, maybe even more, about what the purpose of Kennedy Plaza and Greater Kennedy Plaza should be. Well, this project also helps to accelerate and helps to bring about some of the visioning that many people in this room have been a part of, where Greater Kennedy Plaza moves from being the central bus hub for the entire state to being that gathering place, the true civic center of the city, and by extension, the civic center of the state that creates community and provides that space for people to come together. So for all of those reasons, we could not be happier for this project. It truly is a shot in the arm for our city and the state. Congratulations to everyone involved.
Thank you again for your leadership, Mayor. We really appreciate it. It's time to introduce to you all, or reintroduce, the developer and his counsel. David Sweetser is stepping up. While the state's contributions have gone down in the course of the negotiation, part of the reason is that David Sweetser truly elevated his commitment 2.4 times the amount of the initial equity that was considered for the project is being injected into this project, up to 2.4 times. From the initial potential contribution of about $13 million to $32 million from David's team, a non-trivial amount, exactly what we were all hoping for, skin in the game. And I have to say, David Sweetser bargains hard. It was a vigorous negotiation, as we've said, and he did so skillfully, and we reached a very good result. And it's unusual that you introduce a developer and his counsel, but Zach Darrow is truly a lawyer with terrific acumen. But he's also a developer in his own right here in the Rhode Island environs, and he has business across the country. And no exaggeration, we couldn't possibly have gotten here without David and without Zach. So it's my pleasure to introduce the dynamic duo who are getting this done, David Sweetser and Zach Darrow.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Nice to see those who I met before again. And nice to see those who I have not met yet, but I hope to soon. Good afternoon. This is certainly an exciting day, and it's good to be with you. When our group first purchased the building in 2008, we were bullish on Providence and Rhode Island. Looking back, that seems like a long time ago. And certainly many changes have happened since then. But what's never changed are our views on Providence and Rhode Island as a good place to make investments, and we certainly remain bullish today on downtown Providence. We finally met a moment where all of the necessary stars aligned, and everybody has come together to harness that moment and create the next 100-year future of this building. 111 Westminster will once again contribute to Rhode Island's economy, serve as a beacon of prosperity and growth in its skyline, provide much-needed housing for Rhode Islanders. All told, the redevelopment of 111 Westminster will create 285 residential units, 20% of which will be dedicated to affordable housing. You know, it's just an aside here. I do have a very strong commitment, both personally as well as financially, in Providence. I remember when I was a young kid, only a couple of years ago, my mom and dad, when we'd want to celebrate, we kind of had an affinity for Italian food, and we would either go to the North End in Boston, I grew up in Massachusetts, or we'd come to Federal Hill. And my dad died when I was young, but my mom would keep that tradition up, and we'd go to one of the two to celebrate. So when I bought the building in 2008, I went to my mom. I said, "Mom, I bought this building called the Superman Building." "Oh, I've seen that show." No, Mom, different building, but right, same name. "Ah, terrific. Do you think we can go and have some dinner there, Federal Hill?" I said, "Mom, when that gets repositioned and redeveloped, I promise I'll take you to dinner at Federal Hill again." Well, I signed some papers on the way over here, literally an hour and a half, two hours ago, in Zach's office. And on my way over here in my car, I called my mom, who's still alive, God bless her, at 88. I said, "Mom, we're going to Federal Hill." She said, "For crying out loud, it's been 12 years and I'm wilting away to nothing." I said, "Mom, you got a ways to go to catch me. It's okay." But I'm proud of our long-standing commitment to maintain this building, our relentless efforts in pursuing opportunities to repurpose this important community landmark. I do see Joe Paolino here. I see Buff Chase, obviously Zach. We've had some highs and lows. We came very close on 2 or 3 occasions, pretty well celebrated. I think most of you know about them. And we had some disappointments when they didn't come through. While a longer journey than most of us had hoped, this great day has finally come. The building has stunning architectural features, solid bones. Once completed, it will be one of the best and most exciting locations in which to live in downtown Providence. We also firmly believe that 111 Westminster will further activate the Kennedy Plaza area. As Mayor Igliozi had referred, we know we're part of the puzzle. We want to bring back additional vibrancy and economic activity to a key area of the city. I want to thank this administration, in particular Governor McKee, Commerce Secretary Pryor, for their steadfast support of this project in bringing new solutions to the table and solve a very complicated problem. I also want to thank Mayor Igliozi, Council President Igliozi, and the City of Providence for their support of the project. Thank you, Rhode Island Housing and the Rhode Island Foundation, for your support as well. Lastly, I want to thank my development team, led by Zach Darrow, who has been a tireless advocate for this project over the years. Working together, we will bring this building back to its original glory. We look forward to the process along the way. The building will also create countless construction jobs and be a community gathering point for the residents of Providence and the great state of Rhode Island. We cannot be more pleased to be standing here today with the governor and other community leaders. I can assure everyone in this room We're 100% focused on getting this job done. And I hope to see you in Federal Hill.
I'll keep my remarks brief. Again, thank you, David. I originally declined the opportunity to speak. I'm not usually a great public speaker, but then one of my business partners, a gentleman named Josh, said to me, "You do know this has taken up half of your career, and it was either going to sink you or give you something to celebrate someday." So I'm very grateful to be here. I do want to note Buff Chase, Joe Paolino, and actually the Senate President, as well as Josh Miller. We've been on the journey together since day one with David. We are so grateful that Governor McKee's administration is here, but before we would not get it done. So thank you to you. Thank you to Lieutenant Governor Matos, obviously. And the city of Providence has been amazing. I told the mayor before we walked in here, I've told obviously Barney Nickerson, Keith Stokes. It's been amazing to say, look, the city's supportive, the city will be there, the city will make sure it happens. We just got to pay attention to the initiatives, the affordable housing in particular. So I just want to thank everybody. It's been such an unbelievably long journey with highs and lows. We definitely couldn't have gotten it done without everybody here, and I'm super grateful for everybody's support. Again, the building trades have always been behind us, as well the General Assembly, Council President Igliozi. I'm repeating everything, but figured after 10 years or 9 years of work, I'd have an opportunity to say thank you to everyone.
Full disclosure, this deal nearly fell apart multiple times in the course of a 6-month-plus negotiation, and Zach Darrow was exemplary, representing his client, but in helping to keep this deal together and getting to the right conclusion. So thank you again. Council President John Igliozi is next, and very often at a big ceremony like this, you recognize dignitaries and there's an element of courtesy. Council President Igliozi was right there with Mayor Elorza and myself, committing to getting this done from the earliest conversations, and has been a partner and a cheerleader. We're so grateful. Councilman John Goncalves is also here for your award. We are so proud, Councilman. You happen to be my councilman too, so I have to get that plug in. Council President Igliozi, thank you so much. Come on up.
Wow, this is unbelievable. First of all, thank you, everybody. Let's hear it for Stefan Pryor, Secretary of Commerce. Unbelievable, right? You know, and also, by the way, Governor and his team, he got it done. Congratulations, Lieutenant Governor. We've had a journey together. Of course, the Speaker and the President, and of course, Mayor Elorza and his team. Can't do it without all you folks. You know, I'm speaking from my heart, from the people of Providence. Zach, I've known all the trades, Mr. Paolino, everybody involved, of course, the building trades, Mike Sabatoni. At the end of the day, all these folks here have one mission, and one mission is to make Providence and the state the best place to live. And I gotta say thank you very much. I also have to acknowledge my council colleagues, because they're gonna be in this scrum with me later on, which is, we got the chairwoman of finance, Councilman Joanne Ryan over there, we have Councilman Goncalves, we have Councilman LaFortune, and my other council colleagues down here, I actually see a former Councilman Cliff Wood in the back over there. And all of them, we're all gonna put our shoulders into this conversation, because from the beginning, we knew that this is important to all of us. And it is. And I'm really humbled, and I'm really honored to be here. And for me personally, because one of the first things I ever did when I came way back when, mostly, I probably don't look as old as these folks, but one of the first thing I ever negotiated was actually the tax treaty for the Providence Place Mall. That was the first thing I negotiated way back when. And today and tomorrow, I'm lucky enough now, and as a bookend of my career, that I'll be negotiating and passing a tax stabilization for the Superman building. And I am so honored that I've been given that privilege and honor to help City of Providence develop where it is today. And what two great bookends. It's amazing. It is so amazing. And of course, let's talk about really what's amazing. A true public-private partnership, isn't it? Really is. And Mr. Schweitzer, and of course, Zach, and Mr. Schweitzer I met 9 years ago, 2 administrations ago, 3 councils ago. And I'll tell you something, I want to thank you, by the way, on behalf of my colleagues and people of Providence and my constituents. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for believing in Providence. Thank you for thinking of Providence and willing to continue to develop in Providence. Because without you and all these fine folks up here, we wouldn't be here today. So I want to thank you once again Finally, I'm just going to say, I look forward to the ribbon cutting. I look forward to going to Federal Hill and having something over there. Maybe come to Silver Lake sometime also. We got a couple of good restaurants. With that, thank you all. God bless. Congratulations. Great day for Providence and Rhode Island. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Two very important remaining speakers. An exceptional part of this whole financial framework is being offered by the Rhode Island Foundation. Neil Steinberg will tell you about the reasons for his personal commitment and his institutional commitment to this project, but Neil stepped up to finance against the state's Rebuild Rhode Island tax credit and to bring financial value to this transaction in a way that's truly unusual for a foundation. Neil Steinberg, please come on up, and we congratulate and thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Everybody's talked about what an exciting day, what a long journey it's been. This can only happen in Rhode Island. This type of partnership where we can get all of these players together in one place, we can get all of you in the audience in one place, move something forward and celebrate at the same time. You've all heard all the congratulations. I'll double them. The governor and his leadership, Stefan spending 120% of his time on this, David Sweetser and Zach Darrow obviously sticking with it. My observation was what started as negotiations, not always on the same page, now a true partnership, I think, with the state, the lieutenant governor and the governor. Certainly on the city side, we are a city state, the mayor, council president, and everybody else involved. The state leadership that we have that is steadfast, that on behalf of all of us held the line on what financial risk we were willing to take. Senate President and the Speaker, and as everybody's noted, with Mike and his team, all the jobs. The Rhode Island Foundation, as you know, lives downtown. You can see our building from here, the old train station. So we're an anchor there. Every day we would look across and see this other anchor empty. All the plans for Kennedy Plaza, all the vibrancy that used to come out of this building, now on the horizon. Stefan mentioned a personal connection. Some of you know this. 47 years ago, I started my career on the main floor in that building. I worked there when it was Industrial National Bank, excuse me, Fleet National Bank, and Bank of America, and led it there. It has been sad to me to see that iconic building empty. So this is an opportunity to not only have jobs working on it, to have people spilling out. We talked about it yesterday. People coming out, going to stores, going to restaurants, going to events, to move forward with all the different plans that have been proposed for Kennedy Plaza to make that vibrant and go all across the downtown area. So it's very exciting. We think it will add a lot. The foundation, the Rhode Island Foundation, is very pleased to be able to provide financial support for this project. It makes sense. It's prudent on behalf of our stakeholders. And I can't resist saying this. The governor referenced, we were joking about, we were old enough to watch the old TV show. And if any of you ever saw that, many, many years ago, it opened with a line that I hope we can use when we open the building. And it was, look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's the Superman building. Thank you.
As our finest developers will tell you, Buff Chase and Joe Paolino will tell you, you can't get a complex project like this done without skilled labor. Mike Sabatoni, you represent the building trades beautifully, and you've been an amazing partner. We're proud to be working towards a PLA for this development. Mike Sabatoni.
Well, as most of you know, when you come to events like this, if you see me, that means it's over, because I'm last. And you'd think as the labor guy, I would have negotiated a better seniority clause up until this point, because mostly everything's already been said. But just to echo just a couple of quick things. Governor, Stefan, Dominic, the Speaker, Mayor Lorza, everybody up here. Things don't happen like this by accident. They have to have three components, sometimes four. They have to have business, they have to have labor, they have to have government with vision, and they have to have community buy-in. And when we do that, and you look outside at this skyline, good things happen, and good things are going to happen again with the Superman building. The building trades have always been supportive of repurposing this building. I did an interview a few years or so ago, and someone said, well, why don't we just tear it down? And I know I bumped into some people. I said, I liked your quote in that article, and the quote was, if we tore that building down, the city of Providence would look like it was missing a tooth. So we had to fix it. The PLA offers business opportunities for local businesses, minority businesses, but it also offers career paths for minority men and women, most coming from the city of Providence, the capital city, to start their construction career on a significant project such as this, because this will create significant number of jobs across all of the classifications that we represent in the building trades. So in closing, I will promise this: it will be done on time, on budget, and commit to you, Mr. Schweitzer, that this building will be brought back to its magnificence for sure. So with that, I say thank you, and let's get going.
To Alana Cerrone for questions.
Mr. Schweitzer, when did this all come together? Would you stay at the podium, please? Sorry, we need you at the podium. When did this all come together, and what made it all come together?
It's probably going to be a little more information than you want to hear, but I have actually had a pretty severe cold 3 or 4 days. No worry, I've been tested, everything's okay. I'm lying in bed Sunday night at 10 o'clock, still pretty sick. I get a call from Secretary Pryor, 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. He says, you know, David, I've been reviewing a few things, and I think we're going to be able to help you on this, but a couple of challenges on a couple of other things, and we're going to need some assistance from you on these points. Feeling like heck, I get myself out of bed. I speak with Zach, who himself had his own some issues that he was trying to deal with time management-wise. And I would say probably that night, I would think, is probably the night that I finally said, go back to my previous words, we're going to go to Federal Hill. Because I think Sunday night was probably the first time, more than just my optimism, but I actually thought we were going to get it done. And I would say come yesterday, when we were able to flesh out those points from Sunday night, I knew we were going to get it done.
What were those points?
Yeah, some of the negotiations are probably better to be left, but the conclusions were I had to give some, and frankly the state or through Secretary Pryor needed to give a few points, but bottom line is I could live with what I was being asked to do. Obviously the state made that same conclusion about the points they needed to do. Zach was able to be that person in the Secretary's staff to be able to translate between the two decision makers, myself and Secretary Pryor, and we were able to get it done yesterday morning and have it be executed this morning.
Why did it take 9 years to get to that point?
Sure.
Yeah, just because Dave's not feeling well, and as you may know, I've been around for the 9 years. It's just a matter of, I think David mentioned the moment of everything coming together, that perfect moment with the stars aligning, whether it be the need for housing, whether it be the appetite by the state, whether it be the interest rate environment. A lot of things have to come together to make a project like this work, and it just so happened that we're at a time now where all the stars do align and everything is able to come into motion, whether it be the state's participation, the cities, the market, the demand. So it's really just a function of things coming together, and over the years, certain things fell out.
How do you respond to the view from Brett Smiley as expressed on Joe Canino's TV show last Sunday that it was the posture of your firm that was really holding this up?
Yeah, we have no comment in that regard. I mean, you know, by way of example, if you recall, the State Historic Tax Credit Program was terminated when we first started our pursuit. That was a reason way back then, and by no fault of anybody, just the program had sunsetted. So we'll leave it at that. We're very happy to be here.
You know, in 2013, when the building went vacant, you made not an insignificant amount of campaign contributions to, I think, every elected official who's here and their predecessors. Just a little. Yeah.
I said since 2013, when the building went vacant, you have made campaign contributions to every elected leader here and their predecessors. Mr. Darrow has too, among a lot wider range of contributions. Why did you feel like that was something you should do?
And again, I apologize. I still am not hearing you clearly. Sorry. Okay, sure.
The question regarding political contributions, David supports candidates that he appreciates, and you reference mine, as do I. No science behind it.
When is work going to begin on the project?
So, as the Secretary mentioned, when we leave this room, we have to finish some processes, but we're hoping to start demolition in the next 5 to 6 months. During that process, so we can keep moving a quick path, we'll continue the other permitting for, as you know, the redevelopment plans are a different set of plans than the demolition plans. So start hopefully demolition in the next 5 to 6 months, and then when we finalize the permitting process, full construction.
When's that will be open for the
Approximately 30 months after commencing development.
Can you say demolition? Gutting all of the inside?
Yes, it's a very significant task. It's extraordinary. One, because it's an urban setting, tight buildings, we can't just throw things out the windows, as you can imagine. Actually, all the windows are also being replaced. But it's a very extensive process. So we anticipate probably another 6 months of demolition work.
How realistic is the $220 million for a building of this size?
Good question. We feel pretty confident about it. This is a very, the numbers were trued up and worked on right till the last moment to make sure we weren't impacted by that. It's a natural market, of any real estate development, it's a natural market risk that costs can go up, costs can go down, but we're very confident that we've worked on getting good current numbers and have provided for, the market shifts that could occur.
Sure, and then actually talk about what the vision is for the lower levels. I know that's going to be for community retail, office space, but can you talk to me about if that's going to be a public way on the first floor?
Great question. The vision on that actually is, first off, as you know, with the historic tax credit, federal historic tax credit program, we do have to restore it to its glory, which is amazing. I think all would like to see that happen. So that is going to put some limitations on how and what we can use it for, but it's our intention to integrate some form of community-based program, whether it be event space, as well as take this next time to work on the vision. It will not hold up the project. The project is not stalled until, and actually Commerce did a great job to make sure that work on your vision, but get the rest of it done. So we're going to keep working on developing it, but we definitely are committed to providing some form of community opportunity, because it's so beautiful. It'd be like this room and not being able to come into it. So no specific program yet.
And what about those top floors? I'm thinking about the president's office, the old boardroom. Is that going to be at some point a nicer apartment luxury housing? What will that look like?
Currently slated for units. Currently slated for units.
Governor Canarlo's mentioned that this was part of a puzzle, like Kennedy Plaza being part of that puzzle. What are the pieces of this puzzle are there, and what can we expect in the future on this?
So, I mean, this is complex on so many levels. Just pulling the deal together was complicated. So that's one puzzle aspect to it. The other is that Providence downtown is transitioning from, mostly commercial space to more and more residential space. So along with that come all of now it's a residential neighborhood, comes all of the amenities that neighborhoods have. The shops and restaurants, the bars, the nightlife, the active sidewalks, both during the day and during the evening, as well as the public space that people want to enjoy. And Kennedy Plaza is literally the front door, it's the front doorstep of the Superman building, and we want to make sure that you travel across the country and you see cities that you fall in love with. They all have this this magnificent public space that brings everyone together. We don't have that in Providence. We have never had that, a place where, regardless of where you live, everyone feels connected to. But that's the potential that Kennedy Plaza has, and it just works so well. As this project gets developed, the various phases of developing Kennedy Plaza also gets developed as well. Yeah, so we've laid out our vision for Kennedy Plaza. Bear in mind there's also a $30 million food hall that's being constructed as we speak, right on the perimeter of Kennedy Plaza. And what we want to have is a dozen or so amenities. So whether you're a young person, elder person, there's a draw and there's something for you at Kennedy Plaza. And I'm sure that as this building it gets built out and populated, the folks that are there are going to be a big part of it as well. So this is really something that brings the entire community together. And, I'll only be here for another 9 months. Whoever the next administration is in the city, they'll, add their own flavor and, their own fingerprint to it. But there's nothing but possibilities here.
Pat, last question?
Mr. Sweeter? Mr. Sweeter, you run a sophisticated, some would say international real estate management firm. You've got significant access to capital markets. So my question is a two-part. Number one, why would you take $5 million, say, that's just part of it, from the city of Providence, which clearly has financial issues, right? And number two, isn't this really a corporate welfare bailout of failed investment?
Sure. Yes.
Listen, I can understand the perspectives. They differ. At the end of the day, if you remember, the Rebuild Rhode Island program was established as what they refer to as a gap-filling program, as are all these support mechanisms that have come together. At some point, projects don't make economic sense to be done at all, right? And sometimes buildings get torn down. If you recall, right behind the Turk's Head building, there was a building knocked down years ago, beautiful, historic, iconic, and people want it to be restored, but it just didn't make sense. So the decision has been made by a community together to say, we want to restore this property. We understand, fully vetted. The state can tell you at any point in time, they brought in multiple professionals to say, can this be done? And if not, what's the gap? That's the premise of the Rebuild Rhode Island program and the various city programs. And when looked at, the negotiation that Secretary Pryor referred to was us getting down to that last dollar. So it would not be accurate or even anywhere near accurate to say that it was corporate welfare, but instead, a community, public-private partnership decision to preserve an iconic structure and provide for the community as a whole. Thank you.
Where is the community? These are the usual suspects. Where is the actual community involvement? Ben, thousands of Rhode Islanders would weigh in on 38 Studios when they talk about the stadiums, have voiced vocal opposition to just this very type of check being written to private developers for their own private profit. That's a problem.
Again, the programs that were referred to were the tools that were provided, and it's through the elected officials is the answer to your question.
All right, thank you all so much.
Thank you.